Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. It is 2-ish. It's almost 2. I am Connie. I have my water here. I'm put the coffee away for today so I wouldn't be shaky. Anyway, I am going to make a card today. I looked back at my calendar and I realized I've been scrapbooking pretty much nonstop for like 3 weeks. And so it's time to make a card. But before I do, I just want you to know I loaded my workshop for the Joy of Journey bundle. And these pages with the holographic foils and all of the beauty of this does not translate on film. It's just gorgeous. And I had to tweak mine because this was like a copy of the Close to My Heart layout, and I did a little bit of my own thing on it. And you could use this with any paper pack, you guys, and it looks gorgeous, just gorgeous. I plan on that very first page using that for pictures of moose, little mooster. Look at that with the gold foil. Yeah, that's really pretty. And I added gold to that one. I added a lot of white, as you can see, but I want to make sure everybody can open it. I put in PowerPoint. I usually do these in PowerPoint. And not everybody has PowerPoint, so I also loaded it as a PDF. I did a little doodle around the edge. I think this is my favorite page. And this side page I did from this is the UV coated pattern. And you can make this your own and tweak it any way you want. Use any papers out of it that you want. So try to open that. Make sure you can open it, because that's one of those things ongoing. I kind of have thought of I think that it's too late in the year to start a hostess club, and I believe they're going to transition to a VIP program near the end of the year. And so with Stampin' Up, as I go forward, I think what I'm going to do is offer free little card kits and things like that to people who purchase a certain amount from me or whatever. And it may not be Close to My Heart. It may not be Stampin' Up. It may be all of it. It may be anything I own, because sometimes I just like to put together cards with things from my stash. And today, I want to show you this cool mechanism that I saw on one of the reels. It was on, maybe on Instagram or something. And it's basically a mechanism for making your card front swing. It uses this little circle idea to make your card front swing. And you guys may have seen this same reel that I did. And I want to show you how that works. So basically, it's so simple, and yet I had to watch it like 3 times to get the hang of it because it was so fast in the reel. So this is like a 1-inch punch, and then you need a small punch, and this is a 1/2 inch. This one's kind of big. It's a little bit big. I would recommend maybe a little smaller than that one, but I wanted you to be able to see it on camera. Sorry, getting a phone call always during my live. Anyway, sorry, I can't silence it at this moment. Hold on a minute. There. Okay, so I hope you can still hear me. The idea with this is that you take this little circle and lay it onto the center of your circle, and you basically kind of draw around it okay, like that. And then you want to cut a couple of tabs, one on that side, one on this side. To me, this looks like a Pokemon ball. And actually, I kind of made mine go farther than the circle. It seemed like it worked better. Just like that. Do you see that? And then this goes up. So that's what you're making for the bottom hinge. And then you'll use your piece of paper. I have a scrap piece of paper here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this littler circle and punch it. Okay? And what you want to do is put your hinge through the hole like this. Okay? So there's the back and there's the front. And when you spread that out, you put adhesive on here and here, and then glue this circle to it to make like a sandwich. And then this piece is free moving in between the sandwich. Cool, right? You're probably like, I don't get it. But I'm going to make several of these. I'm going to make a couple of these as we go, so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, okay? If you need to screenshot, here's your screenshot of what you need. Because honestly, I needed to pause it and follow it along. I'm like, I don't feel stupid, like a stupid person, but I tell you what, that was harder than I thought just to get the hang of it. Okay, so today, so this is like the swing part. I love how that looks. And then the inside of this one, I made a pocket for like a gift card. And this one says, coffee because adulting is hard. And then when it swings out, it says, coffee now, conquer the universe later. And then on the inside, I like big cups and I cannot lie. I just thought that was cute. These are Technique Tuesday messages for those of you who care. Anyway, so today I wanted to use the little dogs. Oh my gosh, they're adorable, these little dogs. I thought they would sell out by now, but they are still available. Check it out. Aren't they cute? This one is my moose. And then I thought this one could be a variety of different styles of dogs. This one could be a pug or possibly a Frenchie, depending. I don't know. And then just, you know, just your generic dogs. Anyway, I've been playing around with them. I cut a few out. I stamped a few. And then the other thing I grabbed is the card making, Good Life card making kit. And I wanted to use a little fence, and I like the little mailbox. So anybody who has, you know, any little scene kind of things, this card will work for you. What I like about this one is you can cut this out in a color and not do anything else to it. That's kind of nice, kind of handy. All right, so there's my two that I'm going to start with. Let me just show you kind of what I have in mind. Here's my parts and pieces for the card. You need a card base, which I didn't fold mine. I just have it as a base. Like I said, easier to see on camera. And then this little wood piece right here is going to be my background. And this is from the Good Life. I really love this paper for a little bit more outdoorsy, masculine look. And look at that wood grain. That I ordered the Stampin' Up! Has a new wood grain set in their new catalog, and ordered that. Boy, had to have it. All right. And then I basically have a couple of different parts, and you can decide what part you want to swing. And I'm going to have this attached and this part swinging. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this. And I'm going to lower it a little bit down towards the bottom of my card and leave a little space up here because I'm going to have that circle mechanism right there that is going to take up a little space. All right, so let me get my scrap paper out here again. And to make this, of course, I need 2 circles. I already kind of cut one, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this way. Just like this. And then I'm going to make my mechanism. Instead of drawing my circle, I'm just going to give it wings, right? I'm just going to, you don't want to cut it so close to the center that it cuts through, right? You need that center. And basically that is the part that goes down. Hold it by the wings. Get out my glue. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this part and stick this down. Okay? All right. Now, to determine, I want this part to swing, and so I need a hole in there using the smaller side. And I'm going to put it a little bit close to the edge, but not on the edge. You can see why this hole is a little bit too big. It would be better to have a little bit smaller hole. But for this, I want to show you. So it pops through just like in through the hole, and it sticks out just like that. Okay, and then you kind of line it up where you want it and lay it down. Now, I went ahead and cut this little dog paw. I want to show you where that came from. It's not close to my heart. It's not Stampin' Up. And it is one of the cut-ups from Riley and Company. And it's basically just a background die that I have. And I cut it and then, you know, just did a circle punch around it. And then I put a piece of brown cardstock behind the circle because that dog paw will show through. And I just thought that would be a great hinge mechanism for that. So now you can use any kind of adhesive, but you only want it on those triangle wings that are sticking up, okay? You only want glue on that wing and that wing. And then you are just going to stick your circle on top. Now that's what the second circle is for, is it would be this. But since I prepared this one ahead of time, I just made that in advance. I already had a circle punched, right? So that's basically how this works. And then see how it is, I don't know how much you can see, but it's kind of like this piece of paper right here is sandwiched between the 2 circles in there. And it slides back and forth, which I think is adorable. And because my hole is so big, it gives this wiggle room, which I don't love. I would probably use, instead of this 1/2-inch punch, I'd probably use just a normal plain Jane hole punch and just make my wings small enough to fit through. But it works. It works great. And then to have it slide, I made this little message for the inside. Bark, yip, arf, grr, bow, wow, rough. Thinking of you, the little paw prints, a few little hearts, space for me to add anything else I want. I wanted this high enough where I could see the message without flinging it all the way around, right? I just wanted it to tilt and have that on there. And yet at the same time, hidden when it's not swinging. Okay. There's that. There's that. Just like that. And then again, the card will open and you will be able to put another, you know, write a message inside or decorate the inside too. I just love this little swing thing. It's so cute. And again, I would just make my hole a little bit smaller. I'm just, you know, this hole right here is huge. You would not need it to be so big. So anyway, this was from that reel, and I was like, oh, there's so many possibilities. And so I made this little dog card, and I made this little coffee card, which I thought was really cute. You could even put the gift card behind this part and then put your message inside instead of making a pocket, right? Wouldn't that be cute? All right, one more. I haven't put this one together at all. Look at this though. I've been playing with these dogs. Aren't they cute? Oh my gosh. So this is Moose. Very hard to color a black dog. Just saying, very hard. And then this one, when I think of like pugs or something, I think of this color, but I tried this color just to see what that would look like. That's like muted brown. And it's a little yellow, but I've seen them this yellow color also. And then I think this little guy is really, really cute. So cute. All right, let me get my other parts and pieces out here. I made another little dog paw circle. I did a few little dog bones. I cut a few of the little fences and this. Okay, so here's all my parts. Yeah, you don't have to have as many layers as what I have out, but this outer layer right here, 3x4, the size of a pocket card or a PML card seems to be pretty right. But just imagine if you just had a giant flower that you cut out and made that swing. And that was, you wouldn't have to make it a rectangle. There were so many possibilities and I just honestly didn't have time to put them all together, but so fun. So this one, I want to create a scene. And I think I am going to grab a little piece of scratch paper so I don't make a disaster on my page. It's hard to see white on white like that. But the other thing, I kind of like to have a few clouds in the sky. You may have a cloud where you can just put clouds on. It would be really cute to use, like there's a couple of clouds right now. Let me see. Like you could use this little set and it has a cute little cloud. You could have the little dog under the umbrella. Wouldn't that be cute? Or under the sun with the cloud. Anyway, options. So I'm just going to real quick make a sky. So I have a little bit of glacier. Since don't have my clouds out, this is what I'm gonna do, okay? I'm going to make some fake clouds. Okay, just like that. And you don't have to be precise because, you know, they never look the same. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this around a little bit and kind of go down my page, you can see how it kind of builds and adds a little bit of texture. You can flip it over, it'll give it even a different look. And by continuing down the row and tilting and turning and whatever, you end up with a variety of clouds. And then at the bottom, I'm just gonna color this blue. Now, the problem I have with Glacier Blue is that this is my background clash, because this is more turquoisey looking. And so what I decided to do is grab Mist, which is more of a blue-gray. It's kind of a gray. And it does kind of add some like clouds to the sky. I don't know, but I'm just gonna add a little bit of that here and there to make it just go better. And it just makes it look, I don't know, a little like a stormy sky, but and then I'm just going to kind of put that across there. So you can kind of see what I did there. I just layered it. Now you may have a blue ink that works perfect for this. I could have just used Mist, but then it really does start looking like a stormy sky. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna throw my cloud away. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put my fence rails on. One of them I'm gonna have hanging off a little bit, and then this one will be the whole thing. Oh, so I put on here the announcement that Close to My Heart got in a bunch of their stuff they were expecting for April, which is great. I'm just gonna put a block on that to weight it down for a minute. It's really great that they're getting stuff in, and I'm kind of thinking this will be the last burst of stuff, if that makes sense, because now I need to color my mailbox. I'll show you what colors I'm using as I'm chatting here. So yeah, so this is Earth Brown Blend, and I'll start with light and go highlight it with the darker colors. So the things they're getting in today are, it looks like the rest of the ink pads, and then notice I'm being very careful how I color that. The darkest one I'm going to do in the shadow areas right here, right here, right here. I think that we probably will not see more new product, but gosh, I tell you what, they've surprised us over and over again. But we're getting towards the end here. They can't just keep ordering more, and so I think they're kind of wrapping it up. Okay, this is the Ice Gray blend, and you know I love light to dark, but I'm gonna just start with the middle shade on this one. And notice it has a little bit of a bluish gray tone, and that is almost the same color as Mist when I was using that. So that's why I chose that, and I think it kind of looks like metal. So thank you all so very much for ordering from me. This last couple of months has been insane. My sales have been wild as everybody wraps up their collections and tries to get everything while you can. It's so hard. Isn't that cute? Look at that mailbox. Fun. The other piece that I have is the little piece of grass from that scene set. Now, I could just use a marker. I don't know how well you can see that little piece of grass right there. But I just am going to use a couple of greens. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is put some of the green around here. And sorry, instead of cleaning it, I'm just also going to do some of the light. So there's the grass around my mailbox. I am super excited to tell you all about the sales. All right, I'm going to trim my excess off here before I stamp on it. There's my fence. Isn't that cute? So our top salesperson for the company has been growing exponentially in her business over the last, I would say, 6 months or so. And a lot of people know her off of YouTube and stuff. And she's such a nice person, you guys. I'm just gonna tap along the bottom to get some of that color along the bottom more thickly. And by tapping it over and over, you get the dark shade right when you stamp, and then you get, you know, second generation, third generation, which is harder to do with a light color, but you'll probably see it when I do pine. Okay, anyway, so Monica had said that she was not going to do any more like formal presentations from the company, you know, like announcements and things, but she came on last night to show the promotions and the sales of March. And of course, they expected them to be really good because, you know, they're closing and everybody is trying to buy stuff, right? That seems logical. Now I'm just going to put my little mailbox on there. Now I could pop it up, like foam tape it up, but I'm just going to glue it. So the top salesperson has, in the last few months, her sales have been like anywhere from like 25,000 up to 30. And I think her like for like January, February, she was somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. And then for March, her sales were $98,000, you guys. $98,000 in 1 month. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Look at this cute little dog. I think I might use him. I thought about using Moose. That really does look like Moose, you guys. That is wild and crazy. Little pug. Isn't that cute? You can use any that you want. And I think I am going to put some foam on him. Anyway, isn't that crazy? Have you ever heard of anything so wild? That just blew my mind. I can't even imagine. I mean, and everything is getting discounted for April, and already there are people who are getting the trips and stuff like that. Wild. Just wild to me. Wild, wild, wild. Okay, I have this little woof. I'm kind of making this like my other one. I really think it's cute. I think that's adorable. And now it's time to make our actual card. Let me see. Again, I have a flat base, but just imagine that it's opening and closing, right? So this is going to be on the back. my sales were very high. Thanks to you. My sales were a record for me. Not a record for the company, but I did get recognized for that. So that was nice. It's nice to get some recognition, right? There's that. Now I have to decide, do I want another piece on here? Like, you know, I think I do. I feel like this needs to be on something. So I'm gonna make it stand out just a little bit. No, it's gonna have to go this way. All right, I have my trimmer just off camera, so let me just trim this really quick. And I realize that a lot of you from Stampin' Up! Are, of course, not going to be buying from me, but I hope you still watch my channel. I hope you're still gonna hang out, come over and make cards with me and hang out a little bit. I love that. These are, I think these are supposed to be dog biscuits. I think that's why there's little circles on there. I did not make them like dog biscuits, so... All right, I think I'm gonna get out my smaller punch, unless, no, too much work. Okay, I am going to go ahead and make my little circle. Okay, now I just need my mechanism. I'll use one of these that I punched before. And I'm just going to, the main thing is whatever size wing you make, it just needs to be able to fit into your hole, right? So you could make it, one of the things that I did earlier was I made it real wide like that, so I'd have more gluing, and it was a little trickier to put through the hole. So that is just one thing to kind of keep in mind. It's just got to fit through the hole. That's all. And then I am going to put a little glue on here and on here. Looks like a TIE fighter, like an X-Wing. Okay, and then I am just going to put that where I want it. I'm centering my card where I want it. And hold that down. And then see how it moves. That's because that hole is so big. Okay. And then these wings lay flat, and you put a little glue on each wing, and then you use something to cover it. It could be a flower. It could be one of those clouds. One of those clouds would be really cute to just put up there. Or the sun. You could take the sun and make the sun the circle here. It could be anything. But since I did dog theme, I went ahead and did the dog paw. Just like that. I'm just going to let that dry for just a sec. Now, down at the bottom where it swings, you have to decide what you want it to say. And that's why I cut this little piece. I thought, you know, it can be any size you want, and you can do anything you want on there. I could have another little dog. I could make another little scene. It would be like 2 things. It could have lots of little hearts and say, you know, like missing you. It could just have woof. This is really cute. It says, means I love you in dog. I think that's so cute. So let me show you what that looks like. I just think that's adorable. Adorable. And then there's a whole bunch of there's little tiny footprints, little tiny hearts. And so you can kind of make this however you want. I like it just like that. Okay. That was Desert Rose. And the other thing that you could do down at the bottom, I love this stamp that is like woof, bark, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But I think I'll save that for the inside of my card. You know, like when the whole entire card opens, I can put it down at the bottom, and I think that'll be adorable. The reason I did the card front like this is because it is really hard to battle sometimes an open card or a folded card. And so sometimes it's just easier to show you this. Ta-da! Isn't that cute? A little bit of ribbon at the bottom, or a little row of the dog bones or the dog paws. On this one, I just made it a little lower so I didn't have that space at the bottom, but I had it at the top, and you wouldn't, you know, need anything. And then thinking of you. So sweet. And then on the coffee one, I just used my scraps and a few stamps to make some more coffee beans. I just think these are totally adorable. I hope that this helps. And just know that the sale starts at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 4 o'clock our time, Central Time. And so it is really, most of the things that are going up for sale are the rest of the re-inkers and the stamp pads. If you need a good white daisy, like a pigment white, that white daisy is a nice one. It's going to be on there. There's also going to be some thin cuts and stamps, so you can check that out. And again, man, thank you. I finally got signed up, yay, for Stampin' Up. I'm excited. I'll be getting my kit probably next week. People are getting them pretty quickly. And I'll do an unboxing. I'll show you what I ordered. I'm sure that you're like kind of curious at what's in the new catalog if you haven't seen it yet. And so if you are someone who does not have access to a Stampin' Up catalog, I would be happy. I think I get 8 of them or something, and I'll be happy to send those to you because I don't like having catalogs sitting around. I'll be keeping one, and the rest I'm ready to give away. And there may be more of you who need one, but if you shop online, you can see everything. You don't need a catalog necessarily for that. And I don't think this particular catalog is probably one of their better ones. I hate to say that, but it's the way it's arranged, not the stuff that's in it. The stuff that's in it is great, but the way it's arranged, it's a little hard to find items. And so I'll show you what I mean when it arrives. Okay. I hope you love the hinge mechanism. I'm going to be probably making some cards on Friday also. And I'm not sure exactly which cards I'm going to make yet. But I'll try to use some of my new sets because I tell you, I got all these new sets and I haven't even had a chance to show them. But I love these little dogs. Oh my gosh. I could make a dozen of these, like, bam, just cut all the parts and assembly line. Look how cute. And you wouldn't have to have a mailbox. I thought the mailbox was good for, like, missing you, you know, that kind of thing. Thinking of you. All right, that's what I have today. And if you have questions about anything at all, gosh, just message me. You know I'm around. So thanks for watching.